Kevin, how are you?
Very good.
What's your name?
I'm Peter.
This is Kevin.
This is Brent.
And
I don't drink sake.
which is the name of your band?
Cherubs.
Cherubs.
Why do you choose this name?
Because we may be crusty, but we are sweet on the inside.
Where do you come from?
Texas and Louisiana and the United States and Dallas and Queens, New York.
Did these have any influence on your music where you come from?
Absolutely.
Why?
Well, because in Texas you have a lot of blues, you have a lot of swamp, Zydeco in Louisiana, that's where I was born. And I think we were all influenced by 70s rock.
You got Rocky Erickson.
Yeah.
You got ZZ Top. You got the Butthole Surfers and Scratch Acid. Put it all together and hopefully there's a little something of that in ours.
Pete's got the city and it's all dumped into his head and into his soul and his heart, and that's what comes out of his gravelly voice.
But I play like I'm in Texas.
So, which are the main reference for your music project?
Oh man, I would probably say 70s rock, blues, and Unsane. Unsane had a crazy influence on us. Drunks with Guns also. What do you think?
I mean, I was listening to that first Boss Hog record quite a bit when we first formed.
I would never have imagined that.
Yeah.
It doesn't rhyme me at all. Cherubs, like I don't.
Oh, that's interesting.
No, I mean I hear the
Yeah.
noise, but there's.
Yeah.
I don't.
Yeah.
You know.
It's more arrangements and like little drum things.
Yeah.
Yeah, the intricacies of some of that stuff.
That definitely didn't come from Unsane.
No, that was more some of the other stuff,
Yeah,
you know,
yeah, yeah.
like early Aerosmith. I mean, damn. ZZ Top. Some of that stuff is so well arranged. But his dad was a composer and orchestrator.
Too many
Billy
words.
Gibbons. Oh yeah, sorry.
Too verbose. You were warned.
You're
That's,
going
that's one.
Yeah.
Two more and you're out.
Is the music your job, or do you do other kind of job to maintain yourself?
It is definitely not our job.
Yeah. No, it is not our job.
No.
Why do you play?
Because it's the best thing to do on this earth.
It's fun.
We play because we must.
Why you must?
Why you must wipe your ass after you poop?
It's in us and it must come out.
If I didn't play music, I wouldn't be sitting here. I would be in a fetal position in a bed somewhere with the TV on with some shitty TV show.
And
I would be
we're
very
in Italy.
unhappy.
Yeah. We're getting to talk to you, and music is the only way that can happen for us.
What is music for you?
It's spirituality. It's touching the thing that can't be touched, or at least hooking up with it, maybe not touching it.
It's a form of communication. And I know, like, for Kevin and myself specifically, we are big fans of alternate forms of communication other than just the regular old words that you use to say things all the time. And so music, I think, is like one of the best nonverbal communication forms.
Do you create your song? Which is the creative process to create your song?
We build it, and we put it away, we come back to it, and we start deconstructing it.
Sometimes it starts with a cool drum beat, and then we craft to that. Sometimes it comes from a riff, cool riff, we craft to that. Sometimes it comes with a lyrical idea, and we work backwards from that, and then build something that we can stand more than 5 or so times.
Do you have any helps from any other that help you to make a song, like arranger or producer?
I mean, no.
Well, the whole world of music is really the school that we attend, and we pay attention to the way people arrange things, and we steal strategies where we can.
How many albums did you record in the past?
I want to say 5.
I think 5.
Not exactly sure.
Yeah, and
Probably 5.
and Pete recorded some before us, so you could maybe say 7.
Record what?
Did
Unsane.
I mean, not with us. but
Oh,
with
no,
other
yeah,
people.
yeah,
Boss Hog and Unsane.
No, yeah, I did
3 or 4 or
no, like
something.
4 or
Yeah,
5 or something
okay.
like that.
This band, I think we have 5.
Yeah.
2, 3. Sorry, I forgot about that one. 3 of them were from 30 years ago. And then there are 2, there's actually 3. So there's 6. And 3 are from 2015 up until current day.
How your band start?
We knew each other working at Wheatsville Food Co-op in Austin. Brent worked on the front end as a cashier, checking out people. Did you work in any other departments? I worked in the grocery department. He was in other bands, I was in other bands. We knew each other's bands, we knew each other's work, and we were like, my band, this part of my band sucks, and this part of my band sucks, and I want to do something like this, and then so that's kind of how it started.
We all quit our bands about the same time and
Yeah.
started a new one. And we had full access to each other because not only did we work together, but we also lived within a few blocks of each other.
Okay. Your song has got also lyrics.
Oh yeah.
What they are about?
They're about dealing with your body on this earth. They're about being mad at political circumstances. They are about girls sometimes.
Isn't Little Barely Pieces about a dog?
Yeah, Little Barely Pieces is about social anxiety and your worst fears coming to life in a social situation.
They're about the realities of the inevitability of death.
Yeah, they are a lot about death.
Very much about
yeah,
death,
for
yes.
sure.
I did not know that.
Bruce's dad.
They've got also a political or social meaning.
Well, on sometimes on a person-to-person level, sometimes on a person-to-society level. Yeah, here and there. Yeah, I mean they're more about how all of that fits together and how it affects you.
Where do you take the inspiration from? For the lyrics and also from the music?
Walking down the street and car splashes some water on you and you wish you had this, you wish you had that, girls.
You observe,
yeah.
and you take note,
Yeah.
and then he writes words about it.
You're trying to be comfortable in this life, and it's about the discomfort of it, and then trying to find a way out of that.
Stage. Do you like the stage or you are afraid of the stage?
Both.
Both.
I love
Why?
the stage.
Why do you?
Social anxiety, standing up in front of a bunch of people. But once we start playing, we forget everything.
Yeah.
It's one of the few places that I just feel completely comfortable. I was afraid of it when I was in 5th grade, but I got over it. I had to stand there and play solo on violin in front of a big auditorium full of people. And I didn't shit my pants like I thought I was going to, and ever since then I've enjoyed the stage.
Yeah, I'm learning to enjoy it more all the time.
Do you prefer playing in your studio by yourself or on the stage in a gig?
On the stage.
I can't compare those two.
Yeah, they're so different.
Completely different.
The studio is great because you can make something. It's really hard unless you're a crazy, cool, amazing jazz musician to make something brand new on the stage. But we try.
Where is the place where you played live and that you struck your particular?
We played a show recently for a wedding that was amazing because we were doing it for a friend, and it felt kind of emotional. But that doesn't, that happens here and there in spots on the regular stage too. But
You're talking about live performances?
Yes.
Yeah.
So I would say there's a handful of venues that we have played where we have met people at those venues who have become like family, lifelong friends, and every time we go back to those places, they very much feel like home away from home, and it feels very emotional to me every time. Coming to Europe, Italy specifically, is a great example. Here we're with Corneliano. We met them here, and they are absolutely our family. Tomorrow we go to Bologna, and like the folks in Leroy, they same thing. Like, we met them at the Freak Out Club, and anytime I ever go there, I'm taken back to that first time that we met, and we've kept in touch for years, and they're like family. And so, yeah, the venues where we can actually tie something emotional into it, besides just the performance, like people, is what gets to me.
we have a particular affinity for Italy.
Thank you. Do you follow any rituals or routines before going on stage?
Brent does.
I stretch a lot.
Yes.
I have to stretch a lot. I have a whole host of bodily challenges that must be stretched.
Yes, stretching, tuning, over tuning. Go ahead.
I drink 2 shots of whiskey.
Is the visual aspect of your show important? Like how you dress, the attitude is important for you, and how?
The attitude is important. We try to do as much as we can with as little as possible, so connecting has to be a human thing that we do. We try to do projections every now and then to have a more immersive experience, but it's you take that on and it's a bigger responsibility.
But it's always so much better when we have the projections, I think.
Yeah, I mean, I like it, definitely.
I like it a lot.
But I feel personally, as the singer, it's kind of better for me to not have it, because it forces me to look people in the eye, and it forces me to be on my game more. For me, when there's projections, I tend to hide in them a little bit. So I'm on the fence about it. I love them though.
What type of instrument do you use during your show? Gig corner. Corner.
Okay.
So
I have 2 basses. One's a Rickenbacker 4003, and the other is a Fender Mustang.
pedals.
I use
Amp?
just one pedal. Oh, the amp, whatever we have available, and the pedals I use a Alpha Omega Dark Horse and a tuner. That's it.
I've got 2 Univox guitars. They're most right copies. They both have Seymour Duncan Pearly Gates pickups, and then I've got Wave Cannon and a Sun O thing, and a pedal made by Ethan Hahn from Moon Pussy, and a tremolo pedal and a couple of looper pedals that I make a shit ton of noise with. And the amp can be, normally it's a Marshall type of amp, a 412. Sometimes I split amps to get some weird effects, stereo effects.
I play a Heyman kit. Heyman was the pre-Camco company, so those drums have Camco hardware and later turned to DW.
Yep.
A long, nice succession of good quality drums.
On tour. How do you manage a tour personally, like using the energy?
2 shots of whiskey. It's true.
Stretching in the van, I have to kind of be quiet to save my voice. And now I'm, try to eat as healthy as possible and as consistently as possible. That's the only way to do it. We can't, I personally, none of us, I don't think, can party like we used to, so.
But many times we'll feel like crap and we'll be like, are we playing tonight? And then as soon as we get on stage and start to play, everything's okay.
COVID, lockdown. During this bad period, did you keep playing or no idea, depression?
I mean, I played a lot. I mean, I recorded a lot of stuff, worked on stuff. COVID, I know, was pretty bad for a lot of people. The quietness of COVID was actually a relief for me personally. I didn't have any really bad things happen in my immediate family. I knew a lot of people who lost people. But when the world slowed down and got quiet, it felt like everybody needed that. It was unfortunate that the reason why, but.
I continued playing throughout COVID, but not for the purpose of being productive per se. It was a break from that, and it was just having fun. Me and my wife at the time, Brittany, had a jam room at our house, and we would go in there and she would play drums or keyboards or bass. We would switch around and we would just have fun. And it was really nice to connect with playing in that way without the pressure of making something that I'm going to be proud of and making something that's going to go over well with people and making something that I can figure out a way to make it come across on tape in a studio. Like, all of that was put on hold, which was really nice. How
do you see yourself in 5 years as a band?
Let's see how we are tomorrow.
Yeah, we have to take it really a day at a time, a month at a time. Right now, we're doing really well. Everyone's healthy. We're together. Everyone's communicating really well with our interpersonal stuff and inner stuff. So we'll see. Knock on wood, we'll still be together and we'll still be making music.
What do you think about the music scene in your place, in your city?
The music scene in my little town is really charming. But because it's such a small town, people don't take it very seriously, which can be great, but it's also kind of not great because it's slovenly. People don't show up. They don't take it seriously enough to even do things. So it's it's good and bad.
In Austin, where I live, the music scene is thriving big time. I really like it. There's so many different things happening. There's a lot of younger people that are taking from the 60s, the 70s, and the 80s, and just doing it in new, fresh ways. And they've got a lot of enthusiastic people showing up to their shows. It's a very supportive scene. A lot of venues, a lot of people that like to go out and see live music. And so it's like a breeding ground. You can go out any night and you can hear something. But especially on the weekends, you're going to have a very wide variety of stuff to choose from. The punk rock shows are they're chaotic, they're energetic, they're insane, they're well attended. But there's also some really interesting stuff where they're kind of reacting to what we did in the 90s, and they don't want to use a lot of distortion. They want to have a clear sounding instrumentation, and it's quirky and poppy, and it's very cool. In some cases it's like goth or dancey, but it's just really cool to see so much different stuff happening.
In New York,
Yeah.
I'm sure it's good, but I have no idea.
Social media. Do you use social media to promote? Do you
We do.
like to use it, or do you hate social media?
It's a pain in the ass.
Brent pretty much does all the social.
Yeah.
It's a pain in the ass, but you have to do it, and at times I enjoy it. Just like anything else, at times I enjoy my job.
It takes over sometimes,
It does, and
It's really nice to see comments from people that we would never see comments from, In general, that's a nice thing. Of course, it can work both ways, but when you hear some comments from people that you normally would not be able to even access, it's really nice to know what kind of effect you're having.
But it's made touring so much easier. Being able to reach out to promoters and clubs and book shows, it's a whole new ballgame and a much easier one. Being able to get in touch with people who live in the towns that you're going to play, that want to host you and put you up or show you around. You can accomplish all that stuff so easily ahead of time. So, as much as it's a thorn in your paw at times, it's doing way more good than anything.
Are you represented by a label?
By a couple of labels, yeah. We're represented by Brutal Panda Records and also Relapse Records. And originally we were on Trance Syndicate Records. Well, they no longer exist.
Did you record any video clip in the past for your music?
Yeah, there's one video.
What video?
It's
Pink Party Dessert.
it's Pink
Oh
Party
yeah,
Dessert
yeah.
way back in the
There's
day.
one video
The
from the
scratchy
old
black and
days.
white one.
Yeah, yeah.
And then in the more recent times, since we've been working with Relapse, there's been some visualizations that have been created to accompany some of our songs, but not a traditional video.
Yeah.
You start to play a lot of time ago. Which is the main change of the music of the back days now?
Of our music or music in general?
Your music, yes.
Oh, ours.
I think it's more intricate than your earlier stuff.
It's more intricate, yeah. And, you know, you learn how to write songs. Your craft becomes a little bit more refined, and a lot of times in the early days we would discover stuff on accident, and now we are a little bit more intentional. And the accidents still happen, but we're not dependent on them. If that makes sense in terms of if it's about us. In terms of our music, in terms of the kind of music we make, there's just more people that have access to it. So there's actually more of it now, I think, than there might have been then, which is kind of crazy to say because during that time period, a lot of people were doing this kind of music.
I think some of my favorite comments that I have heard from people is that our music in the last 10 years feels like a very natural progression from our music from 30 years ago. And so that was not without a lot of intentionality on our part. We sat there and had coffee every day for 10 years talking about what would we do if we did it again. And it can't sound like a repeat of what you did a long time ago, and it can't sound like too much of a departure because then you're not the same band. You may as well have a different name. So I love hearing that it feels like just a very natural progression. So to me, that says we really haven't changed that much. We've just continued. The torch continues.
any suggest for the new kids that start to play?
Don't give up too soon. That would be my only. I've had people ask me that were in bands and they were talking about it. It was those guys in Graves, and there's a band in Albuquerque, and they were so young, and their instrumentation was so weird. They had like a bugle horn, and they rolled a Hammond organ into the club and put it on the stage, and they were so good in being who they were. And I wanted so badly to have a recording, but they didn't have any recordings. And I was like, don't stop if you can manage it. Because they were so young. They're out in the parking lot jacking around and trying to turn over a car and things that you would do when you were young. And I was like, they're not going to stay together. And so I just was like, please stay together. See if you can, please stay together. Because if they could stay together, there are bands out there that would turn into monsters.
And how do you see the big change from the past to the nowadays from the music scene, the music scene, which is the main change?
The internet. The ideas get transmitted so quickly that if you want to be original, it's almost as if you have to turn it off somehow. Divorce yourself from it enough to fester inside of your own ideas or your own little sand pit, because you're subject to so many influences now so quickly that how do you germinate? How do you ferment something that feels honest and new? Not necessarily new, but honest and connected to what music is. And I think it's hard to do. It's so much easier to just copy shit that's out there. There's tons of it.
Back in the day, there was no internet. If you wanted to listen to new music, you had to go to the record store and hang out, or you had to go to a friend's house and listen to their record collection. They would come over to your house and listen to what you had. And back then, that's how you got your influences. You would go out, you'd see bands that were coming through town. You'd be like, oh, the Laughing Hyenas, they're fucking amazing. And then you go in and you start writing songs with that in mind. And nowadays, there's so much exposure. It's tricky. It challenges you to know who you are or what it is that you want to be a lot more. You have to really consider a lot because there's so many options. It's just like the difference of walking into a little bodega or walking into Whole Foods. It's a lot harder for me when I've got a bajillion choices of stuff. If I walk into that little bitty store, I very quickly know exactly what I want. And so I think it really calls people out. And so when you write music these days, you're showing people what you've chosen, and you've been exposed to all the options. Just like in New York, like what you wear, your clothes, you've got access to all the clothes. What you wear is telling people who you are. Other places, not so much, because you may not have access to all the clothes that would perfectly tell the world this is who I am. But there's just infinite choices, and so you have to really kind of be well thought about.
Do you have any plans for the future?
To have one, number one, have a plenty of future. You talk about as a band, yeah, we're going to try to record some new stuff. We're going to try to make the most important record and badass record ever recorded, and we're going to try to play as much as we can.
Do you want to leave your social media name and links?
You can find us on Instagram at CHERUBSBandATX.
Yeah.
That's at CHERUBSBandATX.
There is something more that you want to tell us?
Thanks for having us, Luca.
Thank you very much.
Keep up the good work. Keep writing the grants. Keep those kids doing homework. Keep these shows happening. This is a great place.
Thank you so much.
You are so welcome.
3 artists that everyone should know.
I'm going to go Philip Guston, Laurie Anderson, and James Terrell.
I'm going to go with Scratch Acid, Chat Pile, Rid of Me, Connie Shorey, and Leroy.
Charlie Rich, Roxy Music, and the first Napalm Death record.
Okay.
Rich,
Yes.
well done.
I love Charlie Rich.
I do too, man.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Grazie,
Bye-bye.
grazie.
Thank you.
Bye bye.
Grazie.